I joined a caravan of refugees heading to Bramwell, but we never made it there. Brigands slaughtered everyone. I ran into the forest and hid for days before I dared come out. How am I ever going to find my son?
I've never learned precisely why Rakis chose to found his kingdom here. He must have had an important reason, right? I'm not complaining, but your roguish friend over there seems to think he can win my favor.
Who, Lyndon? He's not worth the trouble.
Please tell the other gentleman you travel with, the armored one, that he's much more to my tastes. I've heard that you're journeying to a faraway land now. You won't forget to tell me about any discoveries you make there, will you?
Well, your wish came true. You don't have to be a butler anymore.
Oh, these weren't the circumstances I had in mind. But what about you? Will you still cook?
I've always enjoyed cooking, and these people are hungry too. Especially that strange old man with all the jewels.
Kindly save some for the rest of us, please, dear heart.
If you behave.
I have some good news for you, Cormac.
And what, pray, is that?
Westmarch is recovering. You can stop being so miserable. Or at least return to your normal level of misery.
I'm not miserable. I'm just thinking.
Oh dear. It's even worse. This is serious, isn't it?
Pandemonium Fortress.
At last, I have found you. Master, why are you here? We are reunited at our most dire hour. Many of our priests have fallen. Even you, Master. It is as it should be. I have come to aid you in defeating Malthael. You must wield a power beyond what you have ever dreamed possible. But first, you need to free us from our prison deeper in the fortress. I swear it will be done. This angel commands a power beyond his understanding. Surely he possessed great knowledge as the Archangel of Wisdom. Yes, But he sees virtue only in the light, not the balance. Without some measure of harmony between both these forces, we are all lost. The victory he imagines for himself could never come to pass. The truth is that you were not finished with your training when you left us. But I knew that if you'd stayed, you would have died in Malthael's attack.
You said many perished. Why was I spared?
Your life serves the balance, as it always has. But perhaps you see it more clearly now. There is still a great deal you must do before your journey ends.
Beyond count. I won battles and broke sieges, but it availed me nothing. I know that this war can have no victor, only an eternity of revenge, pride, and hatred. Tyrael does not understand. He cannot see beyond the glory of battle. In time he may, but that day is not yet here.
wait longer. Is too low.
There must be others who seek a way out of the endless strife. Angels and demons who have been slain by our fate. I cannot be unique in all of creation. I know my path. I will find those disillusioned with the war and lead them.
Content to fight the same battles and the same foes while everything turns to ashes. Though his victories might last a day, or a year, or 100 years, the war will never be won so long as he and his brothers lead. There is an end to it, but fools like my father are too blind to see it.
My essence is too low.
Show them what you're capable of!
have sided against Malthea, he always saw the potential in us. He believed that we could achieve something the Seraphim could not. How sad.
Not enough essence. I did not know that demons took prisoners. I babbled like a fool about my dreams of escaping this war. My captor freed me and said that we would meet again. Her name was Lilith, daughter of Mephisto.
Prisoner in the battle, an angel whose light was dimming. I brought him to my lair for my amusement, but he surprised me. My touch seemed to breathe light into him. He raved like a madman about how he wished to escape the war. Perhaps I have found someone I can use.
Felt this way about a demon while I was mired in the endless war. The strain holds us prisoner to what we've been told to believe. She and I have made plans. We will bring others to our cause, and together we will escape.
Essence is too low. not possible.
I see now. This is what you spoke of. I feel as though I'm on the edge between life and death, and both will bend at my command.
You are closer to the cycle than any of us have ever been. Use this power to bring us peace.
You have given me a great gift, Master.
I give you a challenge. Do not fail.
There is no room. I need to go back.
Yes.
What shall we fight? Today. Happy to help. Making a sale?
Finally found you, Lieutenant Derek. Will you come quietly, or are you going to run again?
I'll go with you. I'm no coward.
That's not how I see it.
Leave him be. He is a good man, and he saved my life.
He let good men die. He's a deserter and a criminal, and he'll be dead in the morning.
I'm at peace. Perhaps the one good thing I did by saving your life can make up for the bad I've done.
You are a good man. Remember that.
My visions cloud everything. I can find no escape. I plan to leave Westmarch, to be alone, far away from the constancy of death. Some people would call it a curse, and sometimes it feels that way. But perhaps it's not. I need time to know for sure.
We studied the cycle for years, but we did not see the extent of this disaster. There were dark portents after the World Stone shattered. The Masters spent years trying to decipher them. It was clear that something was coming.
If only we had been better prepared.
My apprentice. If we had not made these preparations, you would not be standing before me now.
What if I had been defeated and could not reach you?
There are many spirits here, great and small from across the lands. I have instructed them on how to aid their allies, much as I have aided you.
Of course. You consider everything.
It is a trait I would like to see in my apprentices as well.
When this is over, I shall return to the necropolis. Death Speaker Jordan will know of your actions.
That is impossible. He was one of the fallen.
Then who leads our numbers?
You must show them the way. Ensure that our traditions survive.
Inarius is in love with me. I can feel the intensity of his desire. I told him that we must liberate the World Stone, and then we can be together. We will create something never imagined by those mired in the eternal conflict. A new world.
I am returning to town.
We will stand together against the shadows.
Those who follow us are strong in purpose and conviction, but we are only few. Yet if we can obtain the power of the World Stone, it will be enough. We will scale the wind shear slope, steal into the heart of the fortress, and be gone before anyone notices the stone's disappearance. Right to seek her all along. We have created a new world. We can live here in peace, away from war. I have named this world Sanctuary.
Yourself in death.
You seem concerned.
Do not let the lure of death consume you as it did Malthael. learn much from that.
Such a choice should not rest in the hearts of beings who are here for an instant, then flare and die.
That is surprising.
Really? Do I seem so out of place?
Remember when you were talking about the spirits in the keep?
I would rather not speak of it. Perfect.
It is. Good to fight with you again.
I welcome the chance to travel with you.
To be honest, I can't believe I'm still in business.
there anything about the past you would like to know?
Were there any spells that would be of use to us now?
None that you would care for. Most of them are forgotten for good reason. Many would drive those who use them mad, or worse.
Where is the Black Soul Stone?
Malthael consumed it, and took Diablo's soul.
Then Malthael's death will have released Diablo. He is free. Where is the Black Soul Stone?
Malthael destroyed it, and used the power within.
Then Malthael's death will have released Diablo. He is free.
I am returning to town.
Where is the Black Soul Stone?
Malthael destroyed it, and consumed Diablo's soul.
Then Malthael's death will have released Diablo. He is free. The Nephilim have done the impossible. By conquering death, he had redeemed the angels and saved all mankind. In that moment, with victory at hand, I saw the Nephilim in a new light. He is a hero who can defeat the champions of heaven and hell, and a necromancer who protects the innocent, but within him beats a mortal heart that will one day be tempted to corruption. On that day, will he have the strength to resist? Or will he be our doom?
The Nephilim! Uriel sent me to find you. Malthael has taken the Black Soul Stone. You must come with me.
Some brand new goods you might be interested in.
Yes, I live once more. I'm very hard to kill, and really, you did a sloppy job. But enough small talk. I need your help. An artifact lies in the ruins of Seshron, guarded by the spirit of a mighty warrior, who will only grant it to the worthy. I think you'll have a better chance of impressing this spirit than I. Aid me in this, and I'll use the artifact to help you. The Nephilim, that fool, actually killed me. Of course, this was not my first time stepping through that door, and I imagine it won't be my last. Fortunately, I am well prepared. Some would say that animating a constructed body with preserved memories is not truly coming back to life. I say those fools don't understand the sheer wonder of being Zoltan cool.
Greetings, Nephilim. I can create a rift so you might test your skill in battle. But first, I require a keystone.
Such a brave soul.
Zakarum has fallen to disgrace. What fate can save us now? It is the end of the world. Can't you see that?
Ancient Nephilim tested their worth by fighting through enchanted realms. It was I who opened these rifts for them. That was my calling, and I always answered it. Then, for many years, there were no Nephilim who had need of me. I am glad to be of use again, champion. Only the most powerful of Nephilim can enter the rifts, and they are the ones who can summon me from my rest. I passed many years in silence and darkness before you arrived, and yet you are different from your ancestors, are you not? I shall take great interest in your actions.
Greetings, Nephilim. Though you have defeated many powerful foes, there remains much to be done. This is a map of Sanctuary and the realms beyond. From here, you can select a region to view it in greater detail. This map displays the different places you can go within the region. Locations marked by an exclamation point have bounties for you to undertake. Bounties are the many tasks and challenges which require your attention. In return for completing them, you will be rewarded with powerful items. Good luck, Nephilim. Sanctuary has need of you. This world is always in peril, my friend. Even places we once believed to be safe. Thank you for coming here. There are many bounties to undertake nearby. You have achieved much in your travels, Nephilim, but the forces of chaos never rest. As you fight these forces, you will gather blood shards. They hold a strange power, though we do not yet know what they are.
Perhaps you can help us find out.
Kadala heard about us during her travels. She is here to help. In her own way.
Or rob us all blind.
Kadala wants to turn a prophet, just like her father Geed always did. Cain told me a great deal about him, and most of it wasn't good. But it is your decision whether or not to buy from her.
Well, I wouldn't, unless you're in the market for some overpriced garbage.
Scouts come to me regularly with reports on enemy activity in the surrounding lands. Based on this information, I can send you to the places where your aid is most needed. Our journey has been long, my friend. I can see the toll it has taken on you, the weight you carry. I never imagined this burden when we first met in New Tristram, but how could any of us know where our paths would lead? You have conquered many foes, but there are always more waiting in the shadows. It is clear to me now that your duty is without end. I remember the certainty I felt when I chose to fall from the heavens and become mortal. I knew it had to be done, though I underestimated the weakness of this flesh and blood. You have accomplished much, my friend, though it has not been easy. I wonder whether I could have achieved more if I possessed my old strength. Still, so long as we prevail, I suppose it is not worth dwelling on.
You chose the perfect time to reform the Horadrim, Tyrael. Our troubles never cease, do they?
It would seem not. Although we lost many to Malthael, there are more who fight to help us at any cost. It is no easy burden to carry the name Horadrim, but some are willing to bear it.
I have some new items that I'm certain you'll love.
I seek passage to Wortham.
I will take you, but beware. Smoke rises from the village.
I must return to Tristram.
Okay, back to Tristram it is.
No, not here.
The Accursed were created when a necrotic plague spread through Kyrgyzstan centuries ago. The infected watched in terror as their flesh blackened and died. The strongest medicines could not stop the decay. Eventually they fell into a dormant state, and their bodies were piled up in dark and forgotten places, where they could rest undisturbed.
The Annas were among Malthael's most trusted advisors, and his fall to darkness affected them deeply. Gone were their radiant wings and calm, balanced counsel. Now they possess only malice and cruelty, and the insatiable desire to destroy all living things.
No one has seen an armored destroyer since Diablo was exiled from the burning hell centuries ago. Before then, they were the bulk of his army, and they crawled, thick as locusts, over the face of their master's realm. Should the Lord of Terror ever return, I fear they would be his heralds. I suspect that the barbed lurker is part demon, for its appearance has an aspect far too sinister to occur naturally. It expels a noxious poison worthy of the hells, and from what I can tell, it will only feed on its own kind or the corpses of demons. One hopes it will never encounter a human.
Enemies of the Nephilim surround you.
My essence is too low. Not enough essence. Essence. My essence is too low. My essence is too low. Essence. My essence is too low. Essence is too low. Essence is too low. Essence. Not enough
essence.
consumes you! This world can abide you no longer! I am overburdened.
back.
I've got some brand new goods you might be interested in.
What? So we fight today.
A gift for me?
Let us fight this evil together.
Fate smiles on you today.
Found some interesting things on my latest visit. You should take a look.
What happened with Jonda? He was of your order, yet he betrayed.
Embraces you.
I would open rifts for the Nephilim to help them train for battle. They fought bravely, facing down enemies in places pulled from the deepest corners of their memories. Ours is a race of great power, but we are nothing unless we temper it with skill. If you are to achieve your birthright, then conquer the rifts and take your rightful place among us.
grave beckons. Do not fear the end. Consumes you. Cycle.
End to the number of rituals these cultists will use to twist mortal flesh. Some call the process ascension, a lie that no doubt buys them obedience. I have heard troubling news. Another cult has emerged from the shadows, and its members gather to the north. They conduct their rituals under the veil of the shrouded moors, where few will think to look for them. One can only guess what dark rituals they will pursue in the forgotten corners of the world.
by returning to town.
I've got some brand new goods you might be.
Well done, champion.
A gift?
18. It's good to fight with you again.
I welcome the chance to travel with you.
We seek the sacred tomes that were stolen by Archbishop Lazarus.
Oh, well, what's in them? Not illustrations, perhaps?
No, they contain prophecies of the end times. Without them, we are lost.
But they have been gone for 20 years, and you survived.
And we will survive 1,000 more if we must. But the tomes will return to us.
Must be spectacularly lucky, then.
Your heresy is intolerable.
There is no end to the number of rituals these cultists will use to twist mortal flesh. Some call the process ascension, a lie that no doubt buys them obedience. But mark my words, these abominations have not ascended. They live only to suffer and hate until they meet their final death. I have heard troubling news. Another cult has emerged from the shadows. and its members gather to the north. They conduct their rituals under the veil of the shrouded moors, where few will think to look for them. One can only guess what dark rituals they will pursue in the forgotten corners of the world.
The large, sluggish beasts can thrive in any grassland or forest, provided there is enough water. Farmers will recognize these brutes as the savage cousins of the common pack beast, a tame breed that was likely domesticated nearly 2,000 years ago. One can hardly imagine the trouble that effort must have taken. The bile crawlers are commonly spoken of among the peasantry in Honduras, most often invoked to scare unruly children into their beds. Fables hold that the crawlers are the half-formed demon spawn who hatched before their time. They resemble nothing more than a bloody, ravening mess, and possess a voracious appetite for human flesh. Though I have searched every corner of the great library of Chaldeum, I can find no references to the true fate of the blood clan Khazra. Some crumbling papers hint that they made a pact to serve the mythical lesser evils. But surely such a thing cannot be considered proper scholarship. Can it? It is easy to focus on the dangerous foes one may encounter on the ground, but the Bloodhawks rule the skies with terrible ferocity. These crimson-winged birds will wait until their prey is at a disadvantage, then swoop down to attack. Watch for their shadows on the nearby terrain, and be prepared to flee quickly. The Bogan trappers' snares are surprisingly effective, though I have no idea how they learned to fashion them. Most of the Bogan's feeble intelligence seems to be centered around killing and eating, and in this respect, their efforts are admirable. Perhaps I should hide one of these snares near my tent when I'm sleeping. I consider myself an expert on all matters concerning boggits. The boggit itself is a small, odd creature given to foraging and burrowing. Under normal circumstances, it fears humans, but it can be incited to great violence when under the influence of magical objects. Rings in particular seem to excite them.
The truth about the Butcher Demon was more startling than I ever anticipated. Evidently, there are many of them within the burning hells, though they used to be solely under Diablo's command. The Butchers are stitched together from the parts of other demons to combine their strengths, then given life through wicked magic. Some foul new disease has taken hold in this land, and the carrion bats are near the heart of it. Since returning to Tristram, I have seen their numbers surge. The evil forces that linger here give them strength, and I fear that the worst is yet to come. I was able to trace some carrion bats back to one of their nests. What I found shocked me. The nest itself is a living organism, a mature bat that has been mutated by the darkest of magics. I no longer doubt that demonic forces have corrupted these creatures.
The colossal Golgor is merely a colossal myth. In folklore, they are sons of an infamous demon who smashed half of hell in anger after the prime evils were defeated during the Dark Exile. Why, if I had a gold coin for each of these tales, I would be a wealthy man indeed.
When I first beheld the Corpse Raiser, I thought myself capable of defeating him. Then he reached out his arm, and the ground in front of him was bathed in a spectral light. The bones of men and beasts rose from the earth and advanced on me.
Though Asmodan is close to all of his lieutenants, Sidea is his special favorite. The Maiden of Lust is both beautiful and grotesque in appearance, with the torso of a woman and the legs of a spider. Her voice is said to be as smooth as honey, but she only speaks words of death. The Dark Berserkers are considered weaker demons, but their strength is still far greater than that of any human. I have found dark spells within the cathedral, written in Archbishop Lazarus's own hand, explaining how to summon them. I pray that no other copies exist, so that this terrible knowledge will be lost forever.
A dark coven has formed in Tristram, and I fear that their superstitious violence may damn the whole region. I discovered very little during my eavesdropping, except that the word Magda was repeated several times in their chants. Oh well, now I journey to the safety of my home, where I may put these worries behind me. The cultists were performing a strange ritual when I saw them today. One of their number stood soundlessly, while others thrust long spikes deep into his spine. He did not perish. And I believe that he may have even been darkly empowered from the implantation, though such terrible magic is foreign to me.
After Malthael's disappearance, the Angiris Council appointed his most loyal servant, Urzael, to find him and bring him back to the high heavens. Urzael, accompanied by the sect of maidens who were Malthael's closest followers, set out to find their absent master. They never returned.
These serpentine demons are Belial's favored servants, and he has granted them some of his skill in cunning and illusion. Deceivers will cloak themselves in the familiar forms of their enemies' companions and friends, waiting to strike when the moment is opportune. It is only then that their true forms are revealed. Demon troopers form the meat of the armies of hell. Their masters use them roughly, sending them into the vanguard for most battles. For their part, the troopers are easily excited by opportunities to exhibit their great talent for violence. In fact, the troopers frequently attack each other when they are left idle. I had long hoped that the demonic Hell-bearer was a fiction, a nightmare from the troubled minds of my ancestors. Just imagine a demon taller than a castle tower who can retch up endless minions from the depths of the hells. Surely our people are doomed if such an abomination exists. Asmodan created the demonic Hellflyers after he nearly lost to Tyrael in battle thousands of years ago. The angels made glorious use of their great luminescent wings to outmaneuver the demon host and assail its commander. Frustrated by his near defeat, Asmodan began breeding winged demons capable of tearing the angels asunder. One usually hears demonic tremors before seeing them. These behemoths move slowly and heavily, pounding the earth with their massive fists. Many a siege has been broken by the tremors' battering strikes, and many more enemies of the demons have been felled by their wrath. I pray that our world will never see them again.
To those who doubt my achievements in research, I present my findings on the Dune Dervish. It took me many years to find the truth of these strange, deadly figures, but my sources indicate that they are the cursed remains of mages who summoned a demon far beyond their power to control. The Dune Thresher is an elusive being with a tremendous capacity for bloodshed. It lurks beneath the sands, rising up to seize prey in its jaws and rend the body until it is but sinew and gore. I once saw a thresher in the flesh, and it rather disagreed with my constitution.
Not all dangerous demons are large and imposing. The dust imps are little more than children in size, but they possess the cunning and bloodlust of far larger creatures. They take cover in the shadows, emerging only when viable prey wanders too close. Then they ambush, leaving little more than bones behind them.
The electric eels are insidious pests that have taken root in the oases surrounding Caldeum. Known for their stinging strikes, these creatures are particularly dangerous when they attack in large numbers. It is said that raw eel has become a delicacy among Caldeum's elite, but I assure you these rumors are baseless.
The phantasms are unlike any spirits I have seen on Sanctuary. They bear a resemblance to lesser demons, but the souls of demons are always reborn in the hells. I suspect the phantasms may be the remnants of some early Nephilim, those born more demon than angel.
The enslaved nightmares stand as testament that there will never be peace between men and demons. Sorcerers who attempt to master the dark arts and summon demons with their black spells are all damned to become skeletal nightmares, bound to the very power they tried to bend to their will.
Before Malthael turned, his sages of wisdom occasionally reached an exceptional level of knowledge that granted them the title of Exarch. These esteemed followers would guard the Chalice of Wisdom when Malthael was away, and they were the last to leave after their master disappeared from the high heavens. These monsters were once the most notorious and reviled criminals in Westmarch, drawn up from the deepest, darkest cells of the city's prisons. Each was worse than the last. Heartless murderers who had butchered countless men, women, and children. In death, Malthael birthed them in forms that matched their twisted, callous souls, creating perfect instruments of slaughter. The executioners have earned their name. All know the reputation of the exorcists of Westmarch, those spiritual warriors specialized in removing demonic possession. By custom, they arrive in darkness, clad in cloaks as black as the night that conjured them. They work in secret, extracting the demons that dwell within their subjects. Now, Malthael has turned them, and they roam the city in their inhuman forms, stripping the souls from all they encounter.
It seems that the Fallen are indeed creatures of demonic origin. The old heraldic tale claims they were once powerful servants of the mythical Asmodan. They purportedly aided him in his battle against the prime evils, and Diablo later punished them by twisting them into the small, stupid forms they now possess. Though the champions are larger, and the lunatics more devastating, it is the shaman priests who lead the Fallen. These shrunken, unintimidating demons can easily kill an enemy with their firebolts, but it is their ability to resurrect their imp allies that allows them to command such high respect from their peers.
I have always wondered how much Adria relied on Diablo's power instead of her own. Based on her blood golems, her magic is very strong. These flesh gorgers are raised from earth, stone, and demon blood, and they are driven to feast on humans so they may resemble us more closely. Let's hope they don't succeed. Adria birthed these golems from the blood marsh. Their bodies were formed from the water and earth of the marsh itself, while the venom of the marsh creatures gave them life. Their very skin seems to burst with the poison of this land. The flesh shaman was created from the blood of the witch Adria. Because of that, the shaman is able to use magic as she does, channeling the power of blood and fire. Luckily, Adria only has so much blood to shed, and not for much longer. The seraph was on me before I knew it, the mass of its bloated flesh soundless as it floated above the ground. When I finally noticed it, I could not move. It was as though I was trapped in a waking nightmare. I looked down and saw tendrils of energy wrapped around my feet, and realized it was not fear that held me, but the seraph's magic.
Garm is the largest of Asmodan's sin lieutenants, and he possesses no less than 4 mouths. Though his voracious appetite is certainly his greatest weapon, his bile and, well, other noxious excretions are equally lethal. When last seen in battle, the Lord of Gluttony swallowed 6 angels whole, spears and all. tragedies in these lands have left many restless spirits in their wake, and they demand retribution. These spirits will take out their vengeance on any unsuspecting individual who may pass, for they believe that the blood of the living will yet restore the lives that were ripped away from them. Ghouls are stronger than most risen dead, but they gain their fortitude through horrific means, feasting upon human corpses. These creatures are least dangerous while eating, but do not disturb them, or it shall be your limbs between their teeth. The grotesques may seem slow and senseless, but they hide many dangers within their hideously malformed bodies. A set of spikes lurks beneath the monster's flesh, and foul parasites nest within them. It is said that these horrors themselves are constructed by a greater evil, a darkness that I cannot even fathom. The bestial hellions are demons that can be summoned from the burning hells with the aid of foul sorcery. They are given to chasing down their foes and attacking them with savage fangs. This usually allows some spare time for their masters to craft their dark spell work and finish off the victim. Long ago, the heralds of pestilence were lesser demons who rebelled against Asmodan. The Lord of Sin vanquished them easily, but instead of slaying them, he granted each one a long arm, infested with a poison that could kill anything but Asmodan himself. The heralds have been plague-riddled menaces ever since.
Many of the oldest noble houses in Westmarch kept massive hunting dogs on their grounds. Though docile enough in life, they have become terrors in the hands of the Reapers. Now these beasts lead the packs of smaller dogs as they chase down the citizens of Westmarch. I don't even want to record what they do to the corpses.
The Herodric Scrolls describe hulking phase beasts as sin made flesh. Asmodan granted them great power, allowing the beasts to shift in and out of sight at will. It is believed that the Lord of Sin only looses the phase beasts against uncommonly clever enemies who cannot be bested with tooth and claw. Demons have been known to devour their own young when no other nourishment is available. Their offspring, the imps, sometimes manage to flee and band together with other demon spawn. They rove in vicious packs, ready to descend upon the unwary traveler and rip his body to shreds with their tiny needle-sharp teeth.
Some time ago, I revealed that the Khazra, or goatmen, were originally humans until the Vizieri corrupted them. For many years, these creatures were simple and lethargic. These days have ended. Khazra attacks are widely reported, and the number of fatalities is higher than anything in my records. Long ago, 5 clans of the Umbaru tribe left the Teganze and ventured north. After their transformation into Khazra, only a few elders were still able to use magic, and they passed it down to their cleverest children. These are the Khazra Shaman, and they rank among the most dangerous of their race. The Lakuni, or Panther Men as they are sometimes called, have inhabited the desert wastes east of Chaldeum for thousands of years. The large males are the tribe's leaders and protectors, while the agile females are expert hunters. Mostly they are primitive and reclusive creatures, although they will attack if cornered or hungry. Searching for the maggot brood has been quite an adventure. I first observed the corpse of one near the road to Westmarch, where it raised such a stench that my new assistant vomited twice on my favorite traveling cloak. The stains came out eventually, but I was sorely vexed.
The Mallet Lords are brutal overseers, second only to the 7 evils themselves. The Mallet demons rule the seething outer reaches of the hells that surround the central realms, and have long refused to join any of the lesser evils' armies. Surely the destruction would be unthinkable if such a thing ever came to pass. I have seen many warriors in my day, but only a scant few of them could face the might of an oppressor. This monster towers over the tallest barbarians and wields weapons crafted from hell-forged steel. They were last seen with Baal during his resurgence, and left legions of dead men in their wake. Pandemonium is a harsh realm, and its inhabitants must be resourceful to survive, but none more so than the scavengers, who armor themselves in the very rocks beneath their feet. They may appear as mighty giants to their foes, but a few hard strikes will reveal that their true form is much smaller.
Dear reader, I am Abd al-Hazir, adventurer, scholar, and researcher. I share my knowledge of this incredible world and its creatures through my insightful missives, often at grave risk to myself. Why, I was recently in Kanduras, where my tents were ransacked by vicious quill fiends. I was able to beat them off with a shoe, but a less bold man would have fared far worse.
In the beginning, Rakanoth served Andariel, the Maiden of Anguish, with efficient brutality, for his touch may open up many painful wounds. He was also the warden of Iswal during many long years that the angels suffered in Rakanoth's own plains of despair. But he has quit his realm unexpectedly in recent times.
As Malthael has imbued them with the ability to sense the living, revenant archers do not rely on their vision to find their targets. There is no place safe from their sightless gaze. They will find you through stone, wood, and even the ground itself. And once they have their quarry, they do not miss. The Revenant Shield Guards were once the personal guard of King Justinian IV. Appointed to the position for bravery and skill at arms, they accompanied the king at all times, resplendent in their ornate armor, wrought by the finest craftsmen in Westmarch. But most spectacular were their shields, which they unerringly employed in the protection of their king. I watched in horror as the guard was struck by the maiden's magic. I heard the sound of his screams until his flesh had dissolved to nothing, and only his armor-clad skeleton remained, his jaw unhinged. Blue mist swirled around his bones, coalescing into new flesh. When at last I cut him down, the phantasmal flesh exploded, leaving only a pile of armor behind.
I will never forget the first time I saw these horrors shambling out of the misty woods. Our loved ones, buried long ago, rose from their graves and began to attack the living. However, the risen dead were only the beginning.
The rockworm may very well be the ugliest creature ever to blight the world with its presence. Bereft of any features aside from its massive jaws, the rockworm appears to be a giant invertebrate. I should like to study it further, but its burrowing tendencies make it extraordinarily difficult to track.
During the Mage Clan Wars, the Viserai summoned giant demons to guard their estates. After years of patrolling the desert sands, the demons' hides became thick as stone and caked with grit. In the end, they have outlived their masters. Now, only the glowing runes on their skulls belie their true origins.
I would rather not discuss the sand wasp. These overgrown insects wouldn't be notable whatsoever if not for their exceptionally poisonous stings, which, alas, killed my young apprentice. I thought he would be more careful when I sent him to retrieve a sample from the hive, but his parents did not understand my perspective. I had half a mind to explore the ancient ruins outside Westmarch, and then I realized they were crawling with dreadful scarabs. Of course, these creatures do not frighten me, but they make my research much too time-consuming, and I am widely known for my efficiency, am I not? Scavengers are ugly, pathetic creatures who survive off of carrion and corpses, too diseased to attract any other carnivores. I did once meet a raggedy fellow who claimed that he had trained one of the beasts to bring him large rats to eat. But I'm sure the story is utter nonsense.
Not all of the hazards of Pandemonium lie above ground. The tunnelers roam just beneath the surface, breaking through to snatch prey in their enormous jaws. And my heroic friends ask why I wish to stay inside the fortress. My journey to Pandemonium has allowed me to see a new world, one that is almost too fantastic for mortal eyes. The ancient battlefields stretch before me, a desolate space that is occupied by small, scouring beasts. They search the lands endlessly, thriving off the magic that lingers from battles long past. There has been much debate among the Horodrim regarding the shadow vermin. Some scholars believe that these wraith-like foes are formed from concentrated demonic energy, while others believe they are the souls of humans, corrupted by Diablo. They glide through the darkness as easily as water, ready to smother their unwary prey.
The shadow touched me, and darkness spread across my vision until all I could see was blackness. It gave way to a pale light that sapped my strength. It seemed so easy. But instead, I drew upon the last of my will and fought back. Color flooded back into my sight. The shadow was right before me, and I drove my spear through it.
I had believed my new assistant was the noisiest creature in the world, but that was before I discovered the Shrieking Terror. This bat-like monstrosity produces the most ear-splitting racket imaginable, and furthermore managed to make my assistant scream even louder. I think my headache will last for weeks now.
The Siege Breaker is a monster of legends, of nightmares, and thin whispers in the dark. It is the most prized champion of the Demon Lords, because its massive size and strength could turn any battle in its favor. I wish I knew more, but alas, all who have seen it have perished.
The great pestilence in Westmarch killed both humans and beasts alike. The panicked survivors then threw the corpses of both into the plague tunnels. Now the Reaper's presence has revived many of those interred there, with the bones of beasts rising again as skeletal crawlers, driven to kill the living.
Only the most talented mages can summon skeletal guardians. It takes great power to form these tall, slim constructs from their unstable reagents, and even more power to sustain them. In the hands of a master, however, the guardians can become powerful weapons capable of defending their posts until the end of time.
During the last days of King Leoric's reign, even the skeletons of the ancient dead could not rest. They took up their broken armor and weapons once more, ready to cut down anything that yet drew breath. Though wasted and fragile, these creatures possess a twisted cleverness that makes them quite formidable. Soul Rippers are the bane of the living, creatures born of the endless malice churning within hell. Agile and swift, the Rippers cover ground quickly by latching onto prey with their enormous tongues, and then leaping on top of their victims. From this point, the Ripper cannot be deterred. It has begun to feast.
The ubiquitous spider is one of the oldest and most adaptable creatures in the world. It also seems to have acquired an unfortunate susceptibility to magic. When exposed, the arachnids will increase dramatically in size and even cast spells. Due to this hazard, I recommend staying out of dark places whenever possible. Spiderlings alone may seem unthreatening, but their presence should be a warning for travelers. For wherever there are spiderlings, there will be matriarchs, and the fully grown arachnids are extremely protective of their young. The spiderlings themselves possess strong appetites, allowing them to do considerable harm to a cornered adventurer. The deserts of Kyrgyzstan are majestic, expansive, and full of stinging swarms of insects. They may seem a minor nuisance, but these vermin carry numerous strains of pestilence. One of them was trapped in my boot once, and my foot swelled up to the size of a melon before the infection cleared. What horrible creatures!
Though the subjugators have always been powerful demon sorcerers, they constantly sought to increase their standing in the bloodthirsty realms of hell. To this end, they imprisoned a score of massive Armadan, torturing and flaying them until the hell beasts would bear subjugators as riders. Together, the Mount and its master are nearly invincible.
I once met a raving drunk who claimed he had wrestled with a succubus, a demonic creature that possesses the form and face of a beautiful woman. He said she cursed him and tore out the heart of his friend before he made a narrow escape. Really, young men are given to such exaggeration these days.
Any other archer would have fled as I charged, but this one stood its ground, staring down the arrow's shaft through lifeless, empty eye sockets. Even as I swung my blade to take off its head, the thing loosed another shot. How can we fight an enemy that has no fear, nor thought for its own self-preservation? Though this Reaper wields a dangerous sword, its shield, with its rows of razor-sharp spikes, poses the greater threat. With a single thrust, it can open a man from waist to throat. That shield was not made for protection. It was made to cripple, maim, and kill. Malthael's fallen angels have brought death to Westmarch, raising an army of Reapers from the city's slain defenders. Once, these men and women were our protectors. Now, they are our executioners, scouring the city for every living soul and putting them to the sword.
The ancient texts describe the terror demons as unconquerable foes, the dreams of Diablo made flesh. They appear in shadow to torment their victims, and then, in shadow, they vanish. The mere sight of one drove a Horodrim to madness, leaving him screaming and clawing at his eyes until the end of his days. The Morlu were once men, great warriors of old, but each of them had darkness within his soul, and Mephisto, the Lord of Hatred, used this flaw to trick them into his service. Mephisto's fury slowly burned away their mortal forms, leaving them fiery apparitions who know no pain, fear, or doubt.
What do I know of the Realm Walker? Very little. It roams the outskirts of Pandemonium, a lumbering giant with a gaping hollow at its core. Somehow, it can hide its body away, disguising itself as a mere portal. Those who pass through it are trapped in a distant world, never to be seen again.
Rumor holds that Archbishop Lazarus loosed a silent terror in the caves near Leoric's manor before he died. He labored for weeks over a group of unusually large spiders, and many of his servants quietly disappeared during this time. The largest creature led the others into the caves. None who have ventured there have returned. The tormented stingers may resemble giant scorpions, but in truth, they are molded from the bodies of human sacrifices. The demons twist their victims into the stingers' distinctive forms by slicing open their chests and viciously mutilating their legs. Maddened by pain, these creatures can poison their prey with a single strike.
Some devious little goblins have been robbing our merchants. When pursued, they simply open portals and disappear with the most aggravating chuckle. The peasantry seem to believe that the goblins serve a great demon lord known as Greed. And furthermore, that their portals lead to Greed's domain. A ludicrous notion, truly. The tusked Boggin is a ferocious, hulking beast with an exceedingly bad temper. Aided by packs of boggits, it will fight anything that crosses its path. Invariably, some of the boggits will die, but the survivors are rewarded with scraps left over from the Boggin's prey. If only my assistants would work for so little. The unburied are formed from human corpses that were flung into mass graves without a proper burial. This hideous amalgamation of bodies decomposes together into one being, bound by some foul magic. For all my knowledge, I could only flee from it, and I would expect any other sensible person to do the same.
Malthael's influence taints man and beast alike. Even the dogs of Westmarch, once tame and gentle, have been transformed into wild, savage creatures. They hunt in packs through the streets, tearing apart their prey with ravenous hunger. I saw them rip a soldier limb from limb. When his screams stopped, they came for me.
I encountered the most troublesome bats in the caves outside Westmarch. My companions and I had sheltered there with the intent of organizing my many records, when the miserable creatures appeared and tore several of the scrolls to pieces. Truly, the world shall be a poorer place for this lost wisdom.
Pandemonium is a vast, chaotic realm, and many demons remain scattered throughout it. In particular, the war-scarred marauders were unwilling to return to the Hells, and they have taken to pillaging the remaining angelic outposts in the battlefields. They may not be the most powerful of their kind, but they are clever and insidious, and no strangers to war. The Ravagers were among the most fearsome soldiers of Hell. Having grown accustomed to the taste of war, they remained in Pandemonium long after the last siege of the fortress ended. Now, they regard the realm as their own and terrorize any angels who venture onto the battlefields.
Tyrael has told me that the winged assassins were once the sages of wisdom. In return for their vow of eternal silence, they were free to roam Malthael's pools of wisdom in the high heavens. Over the millennia, they learned nearly everything about the past, the present, and even part of what would come. But could they have foreseen their dark fates? That I do not know. I have found many references to the beasts of Pandemonium in Cain's old writings. He journeyed there 20 years ago to help a band of heroes seal away the prime evils, and his discoveries appear to have shaken him deeply. Sometimes he would stare outside the fortress walls, and winged beasts would appear, calling his name.
The wither moth is a curious phenomenon. It is tremendously large for an insect, and somehow its size allows it to expel a charging force when attacked. For this reason, few have survived to study it in great detail, including many notable academics. In fact, please do not inquire further upon this subject. I have heard the most ridiculous tales about travelers being ambushed by vicious trees. It is too much. Despite their names, the wood wraiths are not plants, but fully mobile beasts who have taken on the guise of foliage to ensnare their prey. Only a simpleton could be fooled by such a trick.
I, Deckard Cain, have spent many years traveling and writing about the strange creatures in our world, but the sight of the wretched mothers still haunts me. They are the remnants of Queen Asilla's slaughtered handmaidens who were twisted by foul magic. Now they feast upon cadavers and regurgitate them as newly formed, risen dead.